Good morning. Beautiful day. Check it out. Central Park in New York City. Today is the 15th day of the month of Elul. Aside from being 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah, it's also a special day in its own right. It's a day, the date on which the Tomchei Tmimim, the Lubavitch Yeshiva system, was set up in Russia many years ago. So it's a day celebrated by Chabad all over the world. And it's also a special birthday for some people who I know. So mazel tov to you. And I also want to dedicate this talk, as I said I would, to a dear friend of mine. His name is Yitzi Horowitz. You might have heard about his story. You can find it online. Big Facebook presence, a very inspirational person. He has ALS, and he's been inspiring a generation through his journey with his incredible wife and family. So you could check it up, Yitzi Horowitz. And we had a little kumsitz. He came to New York to visit the Rebbe's Ohel. I think it was for his birthday, actually, yes, or his son's bar mitzvah. And then we had a little kumsitz in his house and in Crown Heights. He lives in California. So it was inspiring, and I told him that I showed him this running commentary. He's not able to move anything but his eyes. Incredible, and he's always writing these incredible Dvar Torahs, literally just with his eyes. He moves nothing else but his eyes. Unbelievable. Inspiration and technology combined. Great spirit, the giant of a man. Look him up and connect with him. He's a special person. Yitzi Horowitz, you'll find him on Facebook, you'll find him anywhere. Just search. So this is dedicated to his being and his refuah shalema and his family. And he was our counselor in Vancouver many years ago. He worked for my wife and myself, and he was inspiring then too. May God bless him and his family. So I'm going to dive into an incredible, amazing 6 interpretations of a simple mitzvah that was in this week's parsha, actually last week, Tetizei. To give credit where credit is due, I'm condensing an hour and a half class from Rabbi Yossi Paltiel on InsideChasidus.org. If you want to see all the details, see it there. But here's the condensed version. In the Torah, there's a mitzvah. It says, Ki tivneh bayit chadash. When you will build a new home. V'asita ma'akel gagecha. You should make a fence for the rooftop. If there's a flat roof, you need to make a fence on top of it. Like this. We can see the fence right here. V'lo tasim damim beveitecha. You should not have blood. You should not place blood in your home. Meaning, you should not be responsible for someone's death. And then, the final words of the pasuk is, Ki yipol hanofel mimenu. When the faller will fall from it. The faller, who's the faller? Why does the Torah say the faller will fall? Why not the person will fall? Many questions on that many people answer. We're going to go through 6 levels very quickly. Starting from the simple meaning pshat, moving all the way on to Kabbalah, Remez, then Kabbalah and Hasidus. Incredible. So Rashi, the classical biblical commentator, says, Ki yipol hanofel mimenu. He's already a faller. The one who falls is already destined to fall because of his sins. He did something wrong. He's earned the fall, and he's gonna fall. Now, you have an opportunity now, says Rashi, that he won't fall off your rooftop because your rooftop will be safe. So there's 2 dynamics here happening. One is the faller, and one is your actions that can make sure that it's not going to happen on your territory. Another commentator, Rabbeinu Bechai, says, very similar to what Rashi says, but a little bit with a twist. He says the faller was destined to fall from the 6 days of creation. Not just something recent that he did that earned him the fall, but the faller in the fabric of creation, God put in he wove into the fabric of creation. This person will fall at this specific time, and the place you can still have a say in that matter. You can choose that it shouldn't be from your place. If you put a fence on your rooftop, he won't fall from your roof. It may fall from someone else's. The Chinuch, which is an incredible commentator that talks about every mitzvah and derives lessons from it, says, from here we see this incredible idea, this concept that man cannot grasp with his mind. And that is that God knows in advance everything that will happen to everyone and everything, to the world. Yet, we still have complete and true freedom to choose our actions, what we're going to do. So how is it possible? The great question, Maimonides, the Rambam talks about it. How is it possible that God already knows the future, yet we still have the choice, our ability to make completely free choices? It's impossible for us to understand. But here too we see the idea that God knows this person's going to fall, but we can prevent him from falling from our rooftop. Moving on, in Kabbalah, there's the idea of Bayit Chadash, a new home. Now we're getting onto the esoteric a little bit. It's not necessarily a physical home in this world. A home in the future world. I think it's the Rekanti. He says that if you are building your new home in the future world, in the world to come, which means the rewards that you do from being in this world, from doing the right things. He says, put a fence around that new home, the world to come, which means to say don't lose your share in the world to come. Even though you're doing great things, there's sometimes certain things people can do or say that will cause them to unfortunately lose their share in the world to come. And one of them is if we regret a good deed that we've done, truly regret it, we say, oh, I should not have learned Torah for the last 5 years. Should have not have done that mitzvah and helped the other person. If you regret something that you've done that was good and rewarding, unfortunately it says that you lose the reward. So the Rekanti says, you're creating your new home in the world to come, don't lose it. Moving on to Chassidus now. From the Alter Rebbe, then our Rebbe, and that'll be it for today. So the Alter Rebbe says something fascinating. He says the Bayit Chadash, the new home that you're creating over here, is when a person turns over a new leaf in their own life and does teshuvah. And there's something inspiring that brought them, they were inspired somehow to change their life, to upgrade their life. And they changed their actions. They're living differently, they're doing things differently, talking differently, eating differently, working differently. So the Alter Rebbe says, sometimes that inspiration that brought you to that moment might fade and wear off. So, make a fence around that rooftop, around that new position that you're in, and don't let it fade away. Hold on to it, guard it. Before I say the Rebbe's, I'm going to say one more that I missed earlier. It was from the Shalav, the Kabbalist. It's a fascinating thing, amazing. He says, when you will create a new home, you should make a fence on your rooftop. He says, what is this rooftop in a person's psychological being? What is this rooftop and why do we need a fence? So he says, the rooftop is as high as who you really are. And sometimes as great as you are, as smart as you are. And sometimes, says people, we have this trait called conceit, ga'ava, haughtiness, show off. And he says that's not a good trait. And what we need to do is we need to, as Rabbi Paltiel says, we need to curb our arrogance. We need to not fake to be more than we really are. So put a fence on your arrogance. The rooftop is symbolic of the arrogance of a person. Just curb it, fence your arrogance. Because the faller will fall. Because the arrogance will bring people down from all places. So that was a beautiful thought from the Shalah. And finally, the Rebbe, the Lubavitch Rebbe, takes this and brings it to a practical relevance in our life right here and right now in the way that the Rebbe always did. And he says, Ki tivne bayit chadash, a new home. We're always creating new homes, but the home that we're creating is for God. We create a place for God to live in our world. So Ki tivne bayit chadash, when you reach a new high, something like the Alter Rebbe said, in your service to God, in your home that you're creating for God Almighty, when you reach a certain level, vasita ma'kel gagecha, and you might think to yourself, okay, this is it. This is as far as I'm going. I'm never going to go any higher. This is as far as I'm reaching. So it says the Rebbe, vasita ma'kel gagecha, make a fence on top of that rooftop. Make a fence. And a fence like this one here, it's not a wall, but it allows for the light of God to flow in. Don't limit yourself to where you are right now and say, I'll never go further. Always leave the options open to grow more. Make a fence. Let the light of God come inside, and the opportunity will arrive where that fence can become another wall of your home, of your new home for God that you've created. And then you build another fence on top of that and say, I'm not necessarily stopping here. Right now, this is where I am, but I'm open for more in the future. That's the story for today. God bless you. These are good things to think about before Rosh Hashanah. And wish you all, as the Rebbe would say, and as all Jewish people say all over the world, a kasiva v'chasima tova, to be written and sealed for a good new year.